Okay, so if nobody knows, a couple of months ago I started recording stories, which I never really did before. I always did music, things like that, rapping, singing, but I never did stories. And then I realized this could be like my memoirs, right? And I just started recording every story I could think of, all the best stories from my whole life. And this one I'm doing right now is number 49, and I have not done any sports stories at all up until this point. Done a lot of army stories, family stories, no sports. So I figured I'd finally do one. Now, I've never been the greatest athlete. Up until I was about 11 years old, I was so uncoordinated that my parents had to send me to physical therapy to play sports at all. It was that bad. And even after I turned 11, 12, and I got all my coordination, I still wasn't really that good at sports. I was okay. Uh, but my parents decided to sign me up for Little League because those of you who've been following me, my dad was a baseball player forever. And, he was an all county in high school, played Division One at Boston University on a full scholarship. He was really good. The apple fell kind of far from the tree because I sucked in Little League. Like, I hit 090. That is .090 in my first season of Little League. I couldn't hit a fucking beach ball. I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat, right? And of course, like all shitty Little League players, they stuck me in the one position where I was least likely to field any balls, which was right field. Very few Little Leaguers, normal Little Leaguers have the power to hit a ball out there. And I literally hadn't fielded a ball all season. I just stood in right field game after game, falling asleep like, oh, am I ever going to catch a ball? Am I ever going to get a ball? Jesus. And I had lost hope at this point because it was the last game of the season, the regular season, and still, not one fielding chance. So it's June 1st, 1996. It's the day before my 12th birthday. And I almost missed the game because I was at the Toys R Us or some shit buying myself a birthday present. And I made it to the game in the fifth inning because, Little League games are only 6 innings. So I almost missed everything, right? But I guess there's no rules about how you can't be late to a game because the coach was still able to put me in. And of course, where does he put me in? Coach Weber, that was his name, Bob Weber. Right field, my favorite position. And meanwhile, we're playing in a very important game. We had to win this game to make the playoffs. If we had lost, we were out. The season was over. So we happened to be playing the worst team in the league. They were the Giants, right? Not very giant because this team was like 0-15. I mean, they were awful, the Bad News Bears. But somehow we find ourselves up 1 run, right? We're up like 3-2. There's 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning, and they got 2 runners on base, right? Second and third. Ball gets through the infield. So much as gets through the infield. Game's over, season's over, and we just got eliminated by an 0-15 bunch of losers. So, again, I'm standing out in right field, falling asleep. And all of a sudden, the next batter hits this fly ball, right? It's like a looping fly ball. And the infielder, the second baseman, first baseman aren't going to get it. And then I realized, holy shit, this is coming to right field. It's coming to me. I haven't gotten a ball all season, and now the most important fielding play of any of these kids' lives, right? My life, anybody's, it's coming to me. And it was one of those things where you don't even think. You just act, react. And I just run as fast as I can. And I'm running with like my glove stuck out. And I'm running and running and running. And then all of a sudden, it's one of those things where you don't even realize what's happening. Like in that exact moment, in that exact second. And all I remember was the ball coming at me, the sound of a ball hitting leather, me looking down, seeing that, yeah, the ball was actually in my glove. And before I could think, holy shit, I just saved the entire season. This fucking loser who hit 090, couldn't hit water from a boat, didn't catch a ball all year, and now the most important play of the season, I caught it. And it's barely registered before I look up and see a sea of red jerseys just running at me. We were the Reds, like the Cincinnati Reds. And I'm like, oh shit. And they were just literally sprinting onto the field. They literally picked me up, carried me off the field, like chanting my name and shit. And, for a person that grew up, not very athletic, I never had a lot of friends growing up. I didn't have too many girlfriends, nothing. I wasn't like a brilliant student in school. I had no particular like talents. Unfortunately, I had to grow up with Asperger's syndrome, autism. So kids like me didn't have a whole lot of moments like this. And that's what made it extra fucking special. It's just one of those moments you never ever forget. Even when you're like a normal kid. But when you were someone like me, damn, that shit sticks with you forever. Like if I live 100 years, another 100 years, till 112, I will never forget it. Now, unfortunately, we did not carry this momentum over into the next round, first round of the playoffs, because we ended up losing 21-1. I'm not kidding you. We got absolutely just decimated and blown off the field, and I guess the win was a fluke. But man, my catch wasn't a fluke. Not too many people could ever say they saved the entire season with a defensive play. I mean, kids that were way, way better than me. Like this kid, Brian Delaney, who hit about 780 that year. I'm serious, he hit 780. Right, this kid, Chris Bonanni, who happened to be on the pitcher's mound for that play. The best athletes I've ever seen in my life. Better than I can ever imagine. And yet, I did it. It was me. I was the hero. And like I said, no one will ever forget that shit. When those kids think back on that game, they're not going to remember Chris. They're not going to remember Brian. They're going to remember me. Yeah. What a day. What a fucking day.